Hello, everyone. We're over here checking out the as-is contract. Just wanted to go ahead and explain it briefly. On the top, we always want to put the seller, and then we'll put the buyer. The seller, we want to go ahead and get that information directly through the property appraiser website. You could find the deed here to make sure that the seller is who they are. Open up the deed and review the deed and go based on that information. Same thing, the deed will give you the legal description that you would need. That's probably going to be the most accurate way to be able to do this. And then, of course, if you have personal properties, this is where you would go. Any personal properties that are not included, you'll put it here. All these personal properties are already included, so if you see that you're not trying to give away a television wall mount, you want to exclude it here. The purchase price, the deposit, when it's going to be made. Typically, if it's left blank, there's an answer for it, which in this case is 3, the title company. If financing is a case, you put it here, and then I always put balance down here. This is how I would pretty much prepare all my contracts. And then give them about 24 to 48 hours to respond, depending on the situation and the market you're in. Closing date, depending if you're a cash buyer or financing, and always talk to your lender to see how many days they need to close. And then here's this number 7 box is where you always got to be careful. If you're a serious buyer, buying it for yourself, you put here may not assign the contract. If you're a wholesaler, then you would probably click one of these 2 boxes when you're trying to sell the contract to someone else. If it's an all cash transaction, you would click A. If it's financing, you would click B and the type of financing it is. So a lot of these are disclosures and go into details about who's responsible for what and what they're paying. Like when it comes down to closing costs, what is actual seller closing costs? What is really buyer closing costs? What does buyers pay? Everything depends on what box is checked on here. If seller is picking the closing agent or if the buyer is picking the closing agent. Is there going to be a home warranty? Who's going to pay for the home warranty? A lot of times it's not applicable and you can negotiate that later. And then the installment, paying, seller's going to pay before and then buyer pays after, or the seller's going to pay in full. This is pretty much just any assessments in the public body. So when you see there may be some solar panels on a tax bill that has an ending date in 10 years, that would have to be negotiated. Depending, that's where you want to figure out what box to check. Always consult with an attorney about that. And then here's all the disclosures going down. Inspection, now here you go. You put a 10-day, 5-day inspection period. And then you could go ahead and cancel within that inspection period. After that, your inspection contingency is gone. And more stuff, as more disclosures and more breakdowns to the contract. Of course, an attorney could break down what happens to buyer default, seller default, dispute resolutions. And pretty much what title does, survey, talks about the ingress and egress. That's something for force majeure if a hurricane comes, liens. It's pretty much has the majority of all the problems that you may come across on here. So on the last page is where, of course, you're adding any writers. You want to click on this box, but here you could put additional terms. So you would get anything from an attorney or whatever you guys agreed to for a seller concession or closing costs. You'll put it here, or any kind of agreements that are outside this contract comes here. Everything that's handwritten supersedes what's typed. And then the last page, everybody would just sign, and if there's any agents, they'll put the name in the bottom. All right. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.